Another great opportunity for us this week. Really tough test with the Patriots coming to town. We got a great team. They're having a great year. Really sound in all three phases and really experienced, in all three phases. They got a lot of guys that have been there for a long time and have a great understanding of what they're trying to do. So it's a great opportunity for our guys, and they're excited for the challenge, and we start today with that preparation.
Two-part question here. Have you heard from the NFL regarding the Patriots videotaping your sideline, and has Bill Belichick or anybody in the Patriots organization reached out to you to apologize?
I don't have any comment on that. We've just, as coaches, spent our time game planning.
How different is this week? Do you have to do things differently to prepare, given that they were videotaping?
We just prepare like we always prepare for our opponents.
Is there any benefit for a team to kind of see? What's the benefit of seeing someone sideline and what they do and gesture? I mean, is there just generally speaking, not just in regards to this? I mean, is there a benefit that can be gained from
I really don't have any comment on anything in this area.
Does it leave you angry or disappointed what happened?
I have no comment.
How does that, given all that stuff that happened during game week? I mean, it's not a question about that. I mean, how does preparation? I mean, are there things that you've got to do in terms of make sure guys are locked in, make sure the coaching staff's locked in? I mean, how does that change all that?
It's very easy for us to focus on what's important because this is a great football team we're playing, and we all understand how detailed we got to be with our game plan and how on top of everything we have to be. And so that it is in no way, shape, or form a distraction for us because, as you see, we're just down here in this dungeon down here, and we get our work done, and we get out on the field and do our work. So it's very easy to isolate ourselves from any outside distractions.
What makes Tom Brady so good?
His experience, number one, his accuracy. He has a great understanding of what the defense is trying to do and what his offense can do. He's played the same offense for 20 years now, and that's longer than most coaches have coached in an offense. And so he certainly has seen about everything you can throw at him and is prepared for it. He elevates the players around him. There's no question about that. Having played against him a lot, you can see his players believe in him, and he always puts them in great positions along with the coaching staff. And so he always presents a great test for our guys.
You've talked about getting wins at the end of the year and building momentum toward next year. Would a win against a team like New England mean more than a team with 2 or 3 wins?
I think anytime you get an opportunity against a team that's as successful as they have been this year, certainly is something to be excited about. But it's going to take a lot of work from our guys, and they understand that. These guys it's a very, very sound, disciplined football team. They do all the little things very well. And so it's not just, all right, let's go out there and play hard and win the game. We have to be sound in all of our areas, and we got to really be dialed in and detailed with the things that we're asking our guys to do this week.
So you mentioned how experienced that defense is. He's got guys 7 years, 8 years, 9 years that he's been with that are versatile and smart. They know every detail of it almost as well as he does. Is that the big challenge?
It is. It's something that they really excel in. They're all very versatile. They're great communicators. They play with sound technique. They do their job very well, and it's an impressive defense to watch on tape.
Zach, for you personally, going up against a coach like Bill Belichick, who's going to go down as one of the greatest of all time, it's your first season as a head coach in the NFL. Do you see this as any sort of a coaching challenge, or do you see it that way, going up against one of the greatest of all time?
No, I really don't. The team itself, coaches, players. There's somebody that you always have great respect for because of how they prepare and the success that they've had. So we watch the tape. We try to give ourselves some advantages, and we have to go out there and execute the plan. But it's not about the coach versus the coach or anything like that. It's about our team versus their team, and we've got to be very prepared for Sunday.
I mean, obviously, you schemed against their defense last year in Super Bowl. I mean, this year it seems like they've got one of maybe the best defense they've had there in a while. What's the biggest difference in your mind as to why this unit looks a lot differently than it did maybe a year ago?
I think last year they were a great unit, and that's probably why they won the Super Bowl. And so I think from year to year they've always been considered one of the top defenses in the league, and it's because they're smart, they're sound, they all understand their role, they play it well, and they do a great job creating turnovers. It's as far back as I can remember, they're always at the tops of the league, and the turnover margin. And this year they've got I think around 30, just over 30. So they've done a great job in that area, and we've got to be really dialed in.
One of the common denominators every year is any mistake, they jump on and fully capitalize on it?
They do a great job capitalizing on your mistakes. That's a great way to put it. And, I how many times they're +2 in the turnover margin and the success rate and wins in the NFL. It's an unbelievable indicator in winning and losing. And so many times they've done that, whether it's special teams, defense, or protecting the ball in offense. They're really outstanding in that area.
You feel like your linebacker play has improved over the last month? I know it was obviously a major issue early in particular. Do you feel
Correct.
like it's made strides?
I do. I think that those guys are improving every week. And again, it's just guys are starting to feel comfortable in the schemes. And it's not that they weren't earlier. It's just you're playing a lot of different players, and now we've really dialed in on who's playing and what role you're playing. And guys are able to play side by side with the same guy over a long period of time. And so I certainly see that whole unit getting better. And specifically, like you said, that I was very critical of the linebackers weeks ago, and I do think that they've really responded well and stepped up and are playing much better.
Pratt in particular, I mean, what have you thought of his development as a rookie?
He kind of goes along with a lot of the young players that we have, and that the more game experience they're getting, the more it slows down. They're becoming better communicators, and so that's important to see as the season progresses. He's still got a couple weeks left, but you have seen from week to week his development progress.
How would you assess Nate Vigil this season?
I think Nick has gotten. Did you say Nate or Nick?
Nate.
Threw me off there. Nick has gotten better as well. And again, I think that unit has started to play a lot more consistent these last couple weeks. And obviously there's things that they can continue to improve on. It's not that it's perfect at this point, but they've been giving us a good chance to be successful on defense.
There's been a couple of plays from Jordan Evans in particular where he's come up in coverage and been all over a guy or had almost basically PBU. I mean, he doesn't play much, but
Right.
have you thought by some of those plays, has it thought in your small sample size that maybe you try to find a bigger role for him?
Well, I think that's the best way to put it is we find a role for each of those guys. And sometimes it could be going into a game, it could potentially be more plays than they end up playing, just depending on how we react as the game goes. And so same goes on offense. There's plenty of guys on offense that could play anywhere from 15 to 35 snaps, depending on how the game goes. But he's one of those guys that fits that category.
How close is AJ to maybe practicing and playing?
He won't practice today.
What practice this week?
Just take a day-to-day right now, but he won't practice today.
Now there's 3 games left.
Yeah.
What's your optimism meter like on whether he'll feel comfortable enough to play?
Right. I mean, it's hard for me to say. We continue to have daily conversations about it, and he's not ready to practice today. But he wants to play this year, and then so we want to continue to give him that opportunity and leave that open.
The linebacker and offensive line group, there's been improvement in both of those areas. And is the improvement based more on the comfort level of playing next to each other, or the comfort level in adjusting to changes in scheme that had
Yep.
happened? Or is it a combination of all of it?
I think it's both. I think it's a combination of both, and that you're starting to make the same calls with the same guys next to you. That matters, obviously. I think everyone's starting to get into a flow as coaches and players of what we're doing well and what we're asking our guys to do well. And, that's not to be unexpected. Obviously we wish it was that way week 1 and that we'd played better, but all we can control is what's right in front of us. And so that's what we're working to do today.
I know it's hard to put a player in a box and say, stay safe until next year, but is it easier to try to approach it that way with AJ Green and just say, let's keep him safe?
He's a player that we're obviously always counting on. He wants to play. He's trying to put himself in a position to play, and so we're giving him that opportunity.
I asked for Joe Mixon. He's about 200 away, I think, or so from 1,000 yards. Is there something you've seen in the recent weeks that you feel like can carry over to next year, kind of give you some positive momentum in what you've seen working?
Well, he's approached every week the right way, and it's easy to be frustrated early in the year when things aren't going your way as a running back. I've seen plenty of guys handle it different ways over the last decade. So been proud of guys like that who have it could be very frustrating, and they haven't let that shown through, and they've approached their job the right way. And sure enough, things kind of turn the corner, and we get in phase with each other. And he certainly had a great game last week, and continue to look forward to good things to come from him.
How much of that is finding consistency? I mean, obviously, if you look towards next year, you think about guys like Jonah Williams, but how much is that just finding something that has worked on the offensive line?
Well, that's critical. Protection, run game, that consistency on the offensive line of guys playing next to each other and just investing time in the reps that were things we're trying to achieve. And so not surprising that it took a little bit of time, and now we found a good rhythm there. But again, that can change over the course of one game. So it's not just, hey, we had a great rushing performance last week, it's going to happen again. That's not the case. Every structure that we face is different the next week, and it presents different challenges. And our guys have to be really dialed in, and that's something we've really been preaching these last couple of weeks. And it takes all 11, not just the linemen and the running backs. It's easy to look at them, but we're really hard on our receivers as well, that they got to do a great job to help our run game.
Speaking of receivers, John Ross has a game under his belt. He hadn't played in a while, so, there's a pitch count that he played quite a few plays. Will his role be about the same? Might it expand? Could it be different?
Well, I think we always try to put ourselves in the best position to win with personnel. So some games it's a bunch of 11, some games 12 and 30, it can be whatever. And so we just try to put the best plan in place each week, and guys' snap counts can vary based on what we're doing.
Did he change defensive secondary postures like you thought he would with his speed factor?
I think that they played similarly to what you thought they would, or what they'd shown on tape over the course of the season. So I wouldn't say that there was any clear difference.
Joe said he was happy that you sat him down for a couple of plays after his penalty. How often does a player say that they're happy that you did that to them? That's I imagine rare.
I mean, he certainly knew that he had made a mistake. That was very clear. We made the decision to sit him for some snaps, but we knew that he knew he'd made a mistake and that he wouldn't do it again. We had that trust factor there, but at the same point, you hurt the team, so it's time to sit down for a few snaps.
Was that a statement, or was it a cool down period, or like go sit in the corner a little bit?
We're in the flow of things, and so it's just that's the decision we make, and we move on, and there's not a lot of time to talk too much about it.
Given everything you knew about Joe Mixon before you got here, what's been your impression of coaching him after 14 games?
Same as I expected when I got here. Loves football. It's important to him. Winning's important. His teammates like him. His approach is the right way. He's dialed in. I mean, he's one of the most wide-eyed guys. When you sit there and you install plays early in the morning on Wednesdays and Thursdays, he's one of the guys that is, I can say every single day I've been here presenting in front of a group, very wide-eyed and paying attention to everything you say. And as a presenter, as a coach, when you're up there in front of the room, you appreciate that. And so that's something I've seen from him over the course of the season.
What's his best physical attribute in your estimation?
Well, he's a big back. He's physical, and he's got a lot of great traits that you look for in your backs. And so I know that he punishes guys when they come up to hit him. I would imagine defenders don't love that, but he's got a lot of positive traits to him.
Your offense has struggled in the red zone for most of the season. After a week like last week, do you spend even more time during practice this week in that area?
We always try to find our best ways to be successful and where we should devote our time. It is frustrating when you leave points on the board like we did, but it's a new opportunities this week. So our guys got to get after it.
Patriots are number one in the league red zone, wise following up on the red zone, like 23%, whatever they're allowing. Is Belichick as creative and diverse in the red zone as he is anywhere in the field, or even more so as the field shrinks?
I think it's pretty consistent throughout the field with what you see from them in terms of they're pretty dialed into the offense they're facing. Their guys understand the schemes. You rarely see them just bust. Once or twice over the course of the game, you see a lot of defenses. You can see a guy made a mistake. That's just something you don't see on tape with them. And you look at the safeties have been there a long time. Linebackers been there a long. They got guys that have been in the system for a long time, and so that's to be expected.
One more item, please. It's obviously a team game. When a guy like Mixon gets this close to 1,000, how much do you want him to get?
That's not something I concern myself with. We just try to put ourselves in position to win every game we play, and let that stuff take care of it as it falls.
At this stage of the season, and I know you're focused on the next opponent, the next potential victory, but do you reflect back and say, well, the graph has gone up, and here, and here? I mean, I am seeing progress in different areas that I wanted to see progress.
It's something you make time to look back. I mean, I write notes every day over the course of the season, and oftentimes as the weekend approaches, I look back and make sure there's some things that I wanted corrected in September or October that make sure we're making progress in those areas. And that's the key with a season like this. Hasn't gone the way we've hoped in a lot of areas, and so we have to make sure that we're not just letting things slip. We have to continue to raise the standard, make sure we're making corrections to all the errors that we've made, the things that have not gone our way that we could have controlled. That's the key in a season like this, is you make sure that we learn from all this and improve those areas. And so, and we still have 3 weeks to do that, starting with this week. And that's all we can control. And so it is important to look back as much as you can. You don't always have a lot of free time, but to look back and make sure that you're not losing track of something that you wanted to focus on 4 or 5 weeks ago.
In your situation, in your situation as a head coach and your column plays, I mean, you have a big base of responsibility. When you think, what's the thing I've learned? What's the biggest thing I've learned at this juncture of the season? Is there any one thing, or is it a bunch of things?
You got to trust your staff. You know, you brought in good people for a reason because you trust them and you know that they do a good job. And you don't have to do it all yourself. There's not enough time in the day, and it's not the smart thing to do. You know, you brought these people in for a reason, and so you got to empower them and trust them to make smart decisions and to help you. And that's what I've seen from this staff. You know, really, really good coordinators all the way down to the assistants. And so, you know, again, it hasn't shown up in the wins, but I do think that everyone's making good progress.